Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm Robbie Samuels. I've had the privilege and pleasure of working with Tissa on her launch strategy, and we are here to celebrate her incredible success and hard work paying off, and the incredible community that has been supporting her through this process. I am thrilled for the program that we have waiting for you, which will include an interview with the author, some prizes to give away. You'll hear some special words from some very special guests, and there'll be an opportunity at the very end to hang out informally with the author if you choose to. Without any further delay, I do want to just mention a few housekeeping. If you have any technical issues or you have a question, you can write them in chat. If you have a question, kindly write the word question in all caps followed by your question, just so that I spot it and I make sure that that question gets asked during the Q&A at the end of the hour. And well, any further delay, I'm now just so excited to invite our author to the stage. Congratulations, Tissa, and welcome. How is everything going?
Hello, thank you. So exciting. This is just really
Really,
very
it's
cool.
the pre-show was fun. People missed it with all your guests.
Yeah.
Take it away. I'd love to hear all the thank yous.
Yeah, so just first of all, I'm a little bit overwhelmed by how many of you came today. This is just remarkable because I don't know if you know, but my first book, I just sort of put it into the world and thought, hmm. But then this one has been so much more intentional, and I'm actually kind of emotional just how many of you took the time to be so supportive and so just such champions and evangelists, and it just really means a lot. So there's a lot of people here today who are contributors to the book. Derek, you're here. Karen, Kim Nakamura, you shared your stories. People who were just instrumental in, well, anyone who I text with, you know how I text. You get like a ping, 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 because my thoughts come like machine gun fire. And so a lot of you were here as well, Callie and Joanna Furlong, Katina, just Lynn, you're here. Just thank you. And we just, Robbie, by the way, thank you for orchestrating this launch because this would have just been put out into the world the same nonchalant way as the last one without you. So thank you. Anyone who's writing a book, I highly recommend Robbie to help you. I'm very happy to introduce you to him. But I just want to give you some highlights because with your help, this would not have been possible. So we had 200 people join this launch team. 45 people joined that private training we did a couple weeks ago. I would have been happy if we hit 50 reviews on Amazon. We're at 119 and it's growing every day. So that is amazing because the paperback just went live. So when people go, they just it's there. I mean, that exceeded my wildest expectations. Um, I've already shipped 2,500 bulk books, and that's just to be used in the next 3 weeks at conferences and things like that. So that's really cool. I have 10 keynotes scheduled um, in the next month at really large conferences. And so some of them have workshops. And thanks to all of you and your efforts, we hit the #1 new release in the business teams category. So that was very exciting. I have a screenshot, haven't posted it anywhere, but none of that would be possible without you. So I'm really, really excited and very grateful.
And we are all here to celebrate that. Let's take some time to dig into an interview with you because I know we're kind of curious about the book and what inspired you. I mean, the topic has been written about before. It's not a new concept, but it's new how you talk about it. What was the inspiration? And was there a particular moment that made you realize, like, I have to write this book? I can't sit on it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I think everyone who's here has read it. But so obviously, it's not just my own experience of winding down my company and realizing that the way we talk about resilience is not working, but just working with so many people, working with so many leadership teams, and realizing that the way we need a better way to turn pressure into power instead of turning it into something that just grinds us into the ground. And hearing so many teams talk about, gosh, we're really worn out. We're so burned out. We're grinding our gears, and we keep telling our people to just be more resilient, and it's not working. Or having people come up to me one-on-one and saying, I think I'm failing at this. I just don't feel resilient. And I think this is not something we should fail at. It's something we all are already. So maybe we're just thinking about it wrong and differently. And it just felt like it was the right time. I think people needed a little injection of aggressive pragmatism, which is what I've been told I'm good at. And I thought maybe we just have to reframe it and shift how we think about it. Felt like the right time.
Aggressive pragmatism. I love this.
Yeah.
This book obviously could benefit a wide range of people, but when you were writing it, you probably had a particular kind of person in mind, a particular type of leader or executive. Give us a better sense of, if there was a who this book is even best for, if you were to get an extra copy and hand it off, who should we be making sure is reading this book?
Yeah, I think it's every one of you that's here, right? Think about the profile of anyone who's on this Zoom right now. It's people who have taken big risks, done big things. They're very cool people. You've been really successful. You manage teams, or you've managed really interesting projects. So you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur. You deal with a lot of pressure on a regular basis, not just at work, but also just in life. And I think that's who I wrote it for, is because you can only carry so much pressure for so long until you figure out how to properly valve it or release it a little bit or turn it into something more powerful. So it's really for all those people. You don't have to be at the very top. You don't have to be a CEO seat, but if you are dealing with having to deliver things in life and in leadership, I think this is for you.
I mean, resilience hits families, right? So, like, any you have a family, you probably could use this. But yes, I'm glad you're talking also about the context of the workplace and all the examples in the book. Speaking of the book, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but how does this book differ from other books on this topic? Like, what's that unique spin? I mean, you started talking about the reframe, but if you could just say a little bit more about well, why were we looking at it wrong? And what is the way we're now should be looking at it? Like, what's the better perspective to have on this that makes your voice in this different from other people who've been talking about resilience?
Yeah, and I don't want to sort of put denigrate like the book Grit by Angela Duckworth or anything like that, but I feel like it's just a little bit outdated in the sense that there's some things we can't just power through. We've got to almost move out of the survival mode thinking of the traditional definition of resilience, which is that you don't need it till you are going through a crisis or going through something hard, and then you bounce back, and then you just like put it on a shelf and you don't touch it for a while. I feel like if that's how we're going to handle the skills we need, then it's a very survival mode reactive way of thinking, and I don't feel like that serves us in anything, right? If we're always reactive, we're always going to burn out. And so the shift is, let's not be reactive about it. Let's not wait. Let's make it a muscle, move it into a more intentional upstream skill so that you're able to handle anything, including opportunity. I don't think resilience should only be for the bad stuff. I think it's a muscle that can help you handle anything because you are shifting it from, oh my gosh, something happened to me, to anything can happen through me. And suddenly you're not a victim of anything, you're really empowered. And I think it's the right time for that kind of message, considering the world is just going to keep getting more and more uncertain and disruptive.
Yeah, this is really good timing for this conversation. It's needed in so many spheres. You know, if you were to succinctly share one or two takeaways from the book, something that you're hoping readers will be thinking about long after they put the book down, maybe something they'll be quoting, maybe some of this is actually from these early reviews that you're seeing themes come up. I know I saw some themes in there. Tell us a little bit about that. And like, if we haven't read the book yet, what are some takeaways that we could hear today from you? And that'll make us a little more intrigued to maybe open the book that we've already downloaded. I hope you've already purchased it, everyone. All
Well,
right.
and read it for sure. I think that there's two things. The first, I'm really interested in how many people have said, on the flywheel, there's seven things, things like curiosity or clarity. And I've had a lot of people say, I never thought of the link between curiosity and resilience or clarity and resilience. So it's just starting to link maybe unexpected elements in your life or your work and how they help you be resilient. So that was something I want people to think about. It's not just how you grind your way through things. And then I think the just a phrase to keep in your head is that to you versus through you. So really nothing from this point forward will ever happen to you because you have agency, you have empowerment, you decide what happens through you. And I think if that's the one thing you take away, I'd be really happy.
I'm so busy putting my emojis on the screen. All right. That was awesome. I really
Yeah.
apprecited it. Okay, so next question I have for you is about the early response. Other than the fact that you got 119 reviews, which may have been a surprise,
Yeah,
because
it was
um,
great.
I want to, can I just say something about this? Because I'm a book launch strategist. And so I've been part of my own launches, a lot of other people's launches. I think it was 207 to be exact, people say, yes, I will do this. And 119 reviews are currently showing on the book sales page on Amazon. I can't do the math exactly, but it's definitely more than 50%. That part is just really impressive because it's so hard even after people say yes to get. I mean, those of you who did it understand that there's like some weird resistance people have, but if you felt guided through this process, you wrote great reviews ahead of time, the book got published, people put them up, like it was seamlessly done because people felt compelled and they had great content to work with. But good job, everybody. Like I know that, you and I weren't like writing those reviews, like all of you did that. So it's really good. But any early responses from either beta readers or these early ARC readers, like the advanced reader copy folks, like what kind of resonated or stuck out to you from those conversations?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, I'm so grateful to everybody who's here because I feel so loved and supported. I really do. I don't take any of you for granted. I was like, oh my gosh, what if only two people say yes? Well, then we would have had two reviews. Um, but I think two things that are surprising. The first is how much this also resonates from a personal perspective, right? So it's not just a leadership book, but I've had people um, you know, say that idea of like the difference between a reaction and a response. So I had like more than one person say, I've been using that with my kids. Like, wait, are you reacting? Are you responding? It's like I don't have kids. How is this a parenting help book, right? And then also, I wrote my first book for women, and so many men reached out to say how useful they found it. And so I wrote this for senior leaders, people more entrenched in their careers. And already a lot of people on the launch team have told me that they've given it to their college age or recently graduated children. So we're talking people in their early 20s, fresh into the job market. And I thought, well, how would that be helpful? How are any of these stories helpful? But now I've actually been hearing from those readers and they're saying I'm using these concepts. It's really helpful. And so that's unexpected and very thrilling when you kind of or you think you know your core reader, and then there's another one right there beside it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's always helpful when writing a book to have a really specific reader in mind so that the messaging and the examples and the stories and the concepts all are for that person. But it is often the case that other people who are adjacent or in the wings to that person might then also, find that really helpful information. Definitely, I'm a parent, and I was like, oh, yeah, I have to share this with my wife. Like, we have to have this conversation as a family. Like, there are definitely some concepts that can carry over to our workplace and our lives in general. Speaking of the book writing process and then the launch process, I know this is not your first book, so how did you approach this differently? I mean, book one, there's a lot of like, who might write a book, but book two, it's like, yeah, I write books, and so maybe you go into it feeling a little differently. But any sort of stories from the road about the journey you've been on to get to this point?
Yeah, I don't think I ever had a Who Am I to Write a Book because you know, when I was maybe 7 or 8, my elementary school had this book writing program. So I don't know if how many of you had really ugly wallpaper in the 90s, but my elementary school library collected excess ugly wallpaper, and they would have you write a book and then they would beautifully bind it, and the cover was the ugly wallpaper of all of your classmates. But it was really very cool because you had this physical book, whatever you wrote, and then you illustrated it. I looked for it because I thought it'd be really cool to hold up today. It's somewhere in a box in my mom's attic, and I have like dozens, and I was the most prolific. I have more ugly wallpaper than any of my classmates. And in every one of those, I said, I'm going to be an author when I grow up. I'm going to be an author. And so to be an author is really cool. And like it's real and you can touch it and you like, and then when people, I think the coolest part is when people send you pictures. So feel free to do this, but like, I don't know if Katina is here, but with the first book, she was the first person to send me a picture of my book in the wild, like reading it. And she was on a holidays. It was like it was her feet and the book on a beach, but just like getting pictures of people using it and like highlighting it. It's really cool because you're suddenly thinking those words were in my head and now they're in the world. Um, it's kind of magical.
Yeah. Anything about the how you approach the launch differently this time?
Well, yeah, I didn't just throw it over the fence and go, here, people find it. I actually called you and said, can we do this in a real way? So this time it was not accidental. It was very planned. Yeah. Yeah. And it's made a huge difference.
I love this. I had a client once say I opened my back door and just yelled, "Hey everyone, I'm an author." That was like her first book. That's what
That's
she
what I
did.
did. I mean,
Yeah.
I launched it at the New York Stock Exchange with a keynote, and then that was it. I just sort of went, oh, the world will find it.
Yeah, that's awesome that
I
you
didn't really.
the world
Yeah.
this time definitely got a little more wayfinders to help find it.
Yeah.
Speaking of helpful things, I'm sure there are folks who are reading the book, folks here in the room that will be wanting to dig a little deeper into the topic. Let's talk about the bonus content that you've created to help people do that, and I'll put into the chat how they can find that information.
Yeah, so I created a series of bonus materials. So some workbooks, some prompts, a journal, things like that, that you can go a little deeper if you want. Because I decided not to make the book longer than I thought it needed to be. I thought that was, we're all busy, didn't want to hit a page number just for the sake of it. So pulled some things out and left it there. And then there's some workshops. So if your company or team wants to do workshops, and then I'm launching a program in Q1 called the Unshakable Leader, and that will kind of go through some of this content um, and beyond on a small cohort, sort of take a journey together. So there's different ways to sort of keep building that muscle, if you will, of intentional resilience.
I love this. Tissa, go ahead and introduce our first guest.
Okay, so let's see, Tracy. I'm so excited because, and Tracy, thank you for making time because I know you're in the middle of a really busy day today. So Tracy and I met through Executive Women on Boards, and then she took my board blueprint course, and then very quickly invited me to come and speak, give my keynote, Rethinking Resilience, to her Directors Plus retreat. So all of her direct reports, minus I think two, and then we did a fireside chat and we did a tabletop activation exercise in Dallas. Um, and then her team took all the things we did and took it back to their respective teams. So we really cascaded it through the organization. So Tracy, thank you. And Tracy was at my women's retreat last weekend in Dallas. So yeah, Tracy, I'd love to just turn it over to you.
You're so Tissa, so thank you for letting me be part of this. And I wouldn't miss this, even if it is our busiest day of the entire year, because I work for Humana and I'm in doing Medicare sales and operations. So today was the first day of what they call annual enrollment period. So we're rushing around doing that, but I would not miss this for the world because number one, so Tissa, I haven't told you this, but my book has more dog ears than any other book that I have one other book that I've done that in years. And I would tell you this one has more than that one. So thank you. I finished it. You know, I don't ever read a book usually from beginning to end. I usually go and read the first chapter and then I go where I want. But for some reason, this book attracted me to read it through the right way. So that was also inspiring. It is going to be the Christmas gift for all of my direct reports, your book, because we don't have a conversation once a week where we're not talking about resilience and about intentional resilience in our meetings. Because what you did with my team is we're going through a lot of transition and change. And many of the team felt like it was happening to them versus through them, as you say in your book. And to me, that was super powerful because they have been able to expand their capacity circle and what they get it done. And they're having fun when we're going through significant change. And it's not happening to them, it's happening through them. And I just love it. And then the one piece that I also wanted to mention Tissa, is first of all, I'm still riding a really big high from our weekend retreat. That was because we had such an incredible group of women there, but more so just getting together and really discussing key issues. But I find that the three R's, reflect, repeat, and replace, so helpful because I see it every day where someone in my team, and when I managed 25,000 people through COVID, and we were, reacting every minute of the day. We didn't always know what the answer was, but people were jumping to doing things and it was a reaction to them versus doing intentional resilience, which was really stepping back, reflecting, repeating, and replacing. We didn't call it that, but that's really what helped us through all of that. So this is a must read. I'm going to order a whole bunch more because I hope none of my team is listening, although I do think I might have one or two on the call, but that is their Christmas gift. So thank you for letting me be part of this. And this is a must read for all.
Tracy, thanks for taking time today. I didn't know it was the busiest day. I just knew it was a busy
The,
day.
the busiest day, but for you and for this book, I'm here. I am absolutely here.
Thanks, Trace. So the next person is Tia Newcomer, and Tia and I have known each other for a few years. We were introduced by the CEO of CEO X, Luann Abrams, and we worked one-on-one together. And she transitioned to her first CEO role, and I had an opportunity to come in and do the same keynote and exercise with her team at CaringBridge. Gosh, that was a couple months ago, I think now, Tia. So I would love to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Tissa. And it actually, if you can believe it or not, I think it was in April, which does seem like yesterday and yet not. So here we are. And I'm going to paint a picture for you all on the call. Imagine a team, and we are all facing change constantly, right? And as Tracy nodded to, in healthcare specifically, there's a lot of downward pressure going on, and teams are feeling like things are happening to them. Tissa happened to come, and I always say the universe meets you where you need it. Tissa called me, and what was ahead of us was our biannual in-person full organization coming to town where we focus on connection, collaboration, and really establishing the relationships that carry us through the year as a hybrid remote team. What I knew going into that meeting is that we were laying off a percentage of our workforce, which is never a great way when you're bringing your full staff in. And so Tissa called me at a time where I knew what was coming, and again, universe meeting where we need. And she goes, "Hey, I've got this keynote and I'm launching this book, and here's what it's about." So I'm going to tell two parts of the story. One was I was, of course, like all in. This is the best time for my team to hear words about resilience. Importantly, that not just powering through, because this is a very, they're losing teammates. We have a lot ahead of us. And so how was this going to show up for the team at hand that was around the table? So two things happened. One, my leadership team was actually quite nervous about the term resilience, and that should tell you why you should read this book. Because resilience means to most people bouncing back, powering through. And at a time where we're about to announce to the team that we're laying off a percentage of our workforce, the last thing they want to hear is power through, you've got this. And, I know Tissa, and for a long time, as she mentioned, I knew that this was not that kind of keynote and not that kind of message. But first, we had to bring the team along, my leadership team. Once we got in front of the team, what happened and the magic in the room is, one, you have to understand I have lead a technology platform. And so if you are a technologist, this is no dig, it is what I have found. And that is that a lot of technology people are introverts. So half of the room were introverts, and half of my room is marketing sales, and they are not introverts, as you probably can imagine. And so in that room, one, we had just come off the day before announcing the layoff. So giving the space for the team to really come together and think about what all that meant and giving the space to process. But now we're coming into what is usually a team development exercise, and we have Tissa talking about resilience, hesitation, quietness, somber mood, a lot going on in that space at the time. Tissa stands in front of the room and talks about resilience in the way that you will read through this book. And I love how Tracy hit, not only that this isn't happening to me, but it's happening through me. So that reframe is really important. And there was also this acknowledgement that you do not just power through. This is not about surviving. This is actually about using all of those times, both, and I love how Tissa even mentioned in the beginning, positive and negative things that have happened, or challenging, let me put it differently, positive and challenging things that have happened to you. What's the muscle? What are the learnings? And how do you apply that to any of these situations? So, what happened from the start of that? Again, reminding you guys, it was somber. There's a lot of reflection. There wasn't a lot of laughter. To the end of that session with Tissa, and the magic of this book is that we had connection happening in small groups, conversations happening to help them process through the change that was announced. But more importantly, how are they as a team coming together in resilience and empowering them to not power through, but to actually lean on each other and lean on their own experiences to continue forward. So, the power of this book, the reason why I'm so excited about Tissa's book and the work that she's doing and putting her own lived experience into this book and now out into the world to help, for example, an organization like Caring Bridge. It is so, so powerful. And I will tell you at the end of that week, we always talk to our teams and do a survey on how that all staff, or we call it in-person, in-office weeks, went. And it was billed as one of the best ones we've had over the last 5 years. So that is a testament to this book and to Tissa putting these words out. We started the week with layoffs, and we ended the week by our entire team telling us it was one of the best in-office, in-person weeks we've had. So that is the power of Tissa. I could go on and on. I will end with aggressive pragmatism. That is what you get with Tissa, whether you're in a one-on-one conversation with her. In this book, I hope you guys all stay for the end, or in her words that will jump off and in from the page into the way you approach resilience. So I'm really excited to support this launch, but more importantly, dog ear, like Tracy said, you will have lots of dog ears in that book.
Thank you, Tia. I didn't know that that's how they had ended it, because I went back on the plane, but it was really interesting. Even the introverts were, because you had pointed out who to try and draw out, but I didn't need to. Everybody was there. It was really very powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And our last speaker is Callie Ressler. So we were introduced by one of my longtime coaching clients, the former chief design officer at IBM, who's since moved on to Accenture Song and is now at Sam's Club. And she said, if you're going to be in Minneapolis, you should probably just meet this woman named Callie. And I'm so glad she did. And Callie said, why don't you come and do your keynote for Accenture? The end of the year, kind of been a grinding year, love the topic, and the rest is history. So, Callie.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tissa. And hello, everyone. I am here because of the power of Tissa. I love, Tia, how you put that. And it's true, like Tissa just mentioned, that it was about a year ago that I was really putting some thought to what kind of gathering I could put together for a community of practice that I lead at Accenture that's focused on employee experience. I wanted this to be something that would resonate with them, something that would be relevant, but also reinvigorate. And I, thought long and hard. Nothing was coming to me. This group had been through a year of incredible complexity and really trying to solve the biggest people challenges that our clients have. So they needed something different, something unique. And it was at that moment that I met Tissa and knew that she had this keynote, and I brought her in to this group, and it was exactly what they needed at that moment. And, as we've all heard today, and as we see in the book, resilience can be quite the buzzword. And so I think people were expecting maybe some of the same old, suck it up, keep going no matter what when they came into this gathering. And it is not at all what they heard. What they heard were these messages of the fact that it is not, as we've heard, about bouncing back. It's about moving forward intentionally with clarity about what matters and the adaptability that we need to navigate changes, but also the confidence to do that without losing ourselves, which I think is, for me, one of my favorite parts of what Tissa talks about. So the team thoroughly enjoyed Tissa's messages, which also included the fact that sustainable performance comes from self-awareness, and it comes from, again, staying true to who we are at our core, not burning ourselves out to exhaustion, which is what a lot of these folks have been doing throughout last year. For me, intentional resilience really connects to the broader work that I do with clients around employee experience, culture, engagement. And with constant change and disruption, we need voices like Tissa's that are going to remind us to stay connected to purpose, stay connected to what matters as the landscape keeps shifting, because that's not going to stop. Let's be honest. So I also see this conversation happening in many organizations, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's happening within yours. Employees, leaders, all of us, we are, as we have heard also today, involved with constant transformation. And the question isn't how do we recover? The question is how do we choose to lead differently because of what we've learned and what's happened again through us, not to us. So this is where I think Tissa perfectly meets the moment that we're in. Rather than tell us to toughen up, which none of us need to hear, she tells us to tune in to ourselves, to our teams, and again, what's in us at our core and what we really believe in. So here we are, right around the time last year when I had Tissa come into this team. And I can tell you that we have all carried with us what we learned. We are all leading with more clarity. We are all protecting our energy, and we're all remembering that resilience is something that fuels us forward. So I will leave you with the fact that if you ever get the chance to hear Tissa speak or bring her into your organization, absolutely take it. She will talk about resilience and leadership in a way that will stay with you and your teams long after the session ends. And my team and I are testament to that. So thank you, Tissa, for bringing us all together today, and congratulations on this book launch.
Thank you, Callie. I appreciate it. And thanks, Tia and Tracy. Thank you all for taking your time today to do that. Appreciate it a lot.
Well, all that good energy in the room, I think now is a great time to do a group photo. And what that means is if you're willing to have your camera on, this is a good time to do that.
Oh,
Give folks a
I
chance.
haven't been in this view. Look at everybody. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can see
This is
everybody.
amazing. How
Take
do
a
you get
moment. If you're able
everybody?
to put your cameras on, do so. And if you were in person, I would tell you all to put your drinks down and get closer together. But we are not in person. We are on Zoom. So sit a little taller in your chair so you're not hiding behind your name. Well done.
Well, we got a
Uh,
lot of slouchers.
yeah, look for the camera. If you have a book like Karen does, you can hold your copy up. There you go. And look for the camera, and we'll do this again. Ready? Three, two, one, cheese. Good job. No one blinked. I love it. All right. With that, we actually have a couple more things here. I just want to tell folks why reviews were the focus of your launch strategy, because a lot of authors really do skip that step. They go from publication to the marketing and PR. And you did the focus on reviews because I convinced you it was important. And reviews are social proof on the book sales page. Most of us here listening to this check reviews before making a purchase. And I know that because studies have shown that more than 90% of buyers do check reviews before making a purchase. So it is social proof for the human who's considering buying the book. It's also social proof and validation for the person considering hiring someone to speak. So Tissa may be considered with another author to speak somewhere. They both have authors, they both have books. Well, what's the differentiator? Tissa's got 119 and growing number of written reviews on her book, which shows people actually found it valuable. And then there is the algorithm piece of this, the discoverability of this book long after the launch period. If you were to search for some keywords in Amazon, the search results page would list her book higher on that results page based on the quantity of reviews, the quality of the reviews, the recency of reviews, which means it's not too late to get a review. And if you've missed this early launch period, recent reviews are really helpful. And then percentage of verified reviews. So that's all the reasons why it's important that we did this ongoing and not just for this beginning part. If you have not yet gotten your review, I think that she's going to hit 150. Let's get her there in the next month. So maybe between now and mid-November. If you haven't done so yet, go grab a copy, and then I put in the chat some questions that we were sharing as prompts. Describe this book to a friend. Quote a line from the book that resonated with you. What's a lesson or takeaway, right? Like there's really simple one or two things you can reply to write a 2 or 3 sentence review that would be very helpful to future prospective readers. And Tissa, we also wanted to find ways to help other people help you, this is always the weird part for authors. They're like, I don't want to ask for anything. But the truth is, your message is more important than any discomfort there might be to ask. And you just heard 3 guest speakers talk about how strong your message is and how much it resonates with people and it helps them reframe what's happening right now. So I know you would like some assistance getting this message out further. Share with folks what your hope is and how they can help you.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. So, let's see, next week, for example, I'm going to do 4 keynotes in 3 cities in 4 days, which, by the way, is a lot. I need to rethink the cadence of
Yeah.
that. But that's just when they were. And then, 2 weeks later, again, 4 more events in 3 cities. And so those are like it's a large cybersecurity conference. It's the Indiana Conference for Women. There's a large company that's bringing me in. So if you work at a company that has events or speakers, or you know of an event or a conference or an association, and you're willing to brainstorm with me, you don't have to be the person who is responsible for booking the speakers, but just any brainstorming would be wonderful. And a lot of times after the keynote, I'll do a workshop, like a circle of control workshop or things like that. So there's a lot of ways to frame up and structure that. That would be wonderful. So if you put idea into the chat, I'll reach out and we can brainstorm. And then if there's other ways to get the message of the book out, so podcasts or guest blogs, things like that, that would be wonderful too. But really where I'm heading out on the road is to speak.
Yeah, because then the message gets further faster and
Yeah.
helps the ripple the
Yeah.
it out to people. Yeah, so all people have to do right now, you don't have to have an idea. You just have to write the word idea. Put the idea in chat, and Tissa will reach out to you within the next day about how to schedule a conversation in the next few weeks, some brainstorming. Again, you don't have to be the decision maker, but if you belong to an association, if you belong to a company that brings speakers in, then having you help her understand your industry, your organization, your association, how to navigate it, who has budgets, who brings in speakers, how to frame the ask, and then if you were able to make the introductions even better. But honestly, just brainstorming can really kickstart a lot that Tissa can work with. So thank you for doing that. Um, and Tissa, there's a question from Karen. If there's any dates, locations of keynotes that are open to the public to join, and you want to share them, it sounds like she and others might be
Oh,
interested.
yeah. Okay. I'll do that. I'll put that on LinkedIn. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
So now we're going to do this fun thing where we're going to give away 3 copies of your book. Now, it's my understanding, Tissa, that some people on this list already have a copy. But if
Mhm.
you win and you already have a copy, see this as an opportunity to pass that copy on to somebody else as a gift to help them think about their own resilience. So, or rethink their own resilience might be the better way to say that. All right, here we go. Let's see who the first person's going
When
to
I
be.
first saw this, I thought it was to hypnotize people, but we could do that too.
Caitlin.
Caitlin. Was
And they
Caitlin here?
don't have to be here, but they might be here. So that's awesome. Okay, we're going to take her off here. Now we're going to spin again.
Is this, and then send them a signed copy? Is that what I'm
Yeah, you're
doing?
going to send them a
Oh,
signed
yay.
copy of the
Okay.
book.
All right.
So
Yay.
here we go. And one more. Excellent. Oh, right on the line there. There we go. And Artie.
Yay.
Fantastic. It's always a little fun. I love the little golf claps. Um, we're now shifting to the Q&A portion of the program. So if you have um, any questions, this is an opportunity to ask them. Again, if you want to book a call with Tissa afterward to talk about the brainstorming thing, just write the word idea and she'll look at that and reach out to you after. But to kick off the Q&A, and I'll keep an eye to see if any other questions come into chat. I just wanted to know, I mean, so clearly you are a speaker. Like that has come across loud and clear. Thanks to your guest speakers. Well done. I want to know about how folks might have a deeper collaboration. You kind of hinted at the idea of there being workshops. What are the other longer term engagements? Do you do one-on-one groups? Like, tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about what that would look like.
Yeah, so I'm working with a company, right, where we started with a keynote, but their worry was, well, we don't want them to lose the excitement and the what's the word I'm looking for? Um, just that we don't want there to be that enthusiasm chasm, right? So you come in Q1 for our sales kickoff and then we're done. So we've kept every quarter, we've kept it up. So we do a workshop and a webinar every quarter and we check in. So there's this ongoing cadence of, um, I think they're calling it like a resilience mapping throughout each of their quarters. And so there's ways to sort of keep that going. And we always customize the workshops to the current challenges. So it's not like I'm coming in and going, we're going to talk about X, but we'll take a challenge statement from your team or from your business unit or your executives, and we will literally map it against what's in the book. So it's very relevant to people because no one has time to just be theoretical, right? I think that that just causes friction instead of solving problems. Um, and then I work with 5 leaders per quarter one-on-one. So, and in fact, some people I work with one-on-one are on this lunch party. So, yeah, so it's like an executive sounding board, right? How do you make the best decisions, navigate those big pressure points of leadership, and how do you accelerate into the next thing? So, yeah.
I love it. So now you have a better understanding of the many different ways that Tissa is showing up and offering value in the world. The book is a great entry point. So I love I'm seeing in the chat people talking about they're going to be gifting it to their teams. I think it's a great idea to think about that. I mentioned earlier in the chat that you can definitely buy paperback copies and share those. But if it makes more sense, maybe for a global team, you want to gift the ebook, the Kindle version, there is a buy for others button on the book sales page on Amazon that lets you actually get individualized links that you could then send to them. And the good news is that if they don't activate the link after a period of time, I think 30 days, the money gets refunded to you. So if you want to like buy a bunch of them and give them out, that's something I've done for larger groups of people. But if you have the ability to get the paperback, then they get to dog ear it and highlight it. And I think that's the more tangible experience that most people are going to be seeking. So, Tissa, I know the book is currently 99 cents on Kindle, and that's going to be true until.
October 24th.
Okay, so we've got about a week for people to take action from this point. So it's good. Like, don't miss out on that opportunity. I have a feeling anyone who gets the ebook or has gotten the ebook is going to want to now buy the paperback. So that's also available for you. So check all that out. I put the link into chat. Just to take a peek here to see if there's any questions. Keith has a question about ordering bulk copies of the paperback. So you mentioned earlier that you've done a bunch of bulk orders related to some speaking opportunities. What's the minimum that you consider for a bulk order that would go through you versus someone just buying, 25 copies from Amazon?
Yeah, I think if you need to order like 30 or more, just send me a message and there's a couple places where we can make that a reality. Yeah.
Fantastic. All
Yeah.
right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go a little informal now. I'm gonna stop the recording. First, I'm gonna say thank you to those who are watching the replay. We love that people tuned in, even if they couldn't be here with us.